Hi, I'm Gail Sokol and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making ricotta zeppeli. Now these are little Italian donuts. They're like little balls and they're so simple to make, so light because of the ricotta cheese. And you want to use whole milk ricotta. So you don't want to skimp on this at all. And these come together so quickly that I already have my oil heating up because it's that fast. So if you have a yen for donuts, these are the ones to make. And these are in my new book, Baking with Success. So 1 cup of all-purpose flour in a bowl. And then I'm going to put in 1/4 cup of granulated sugar and 2 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder. That's going to help them rise. And before we go any further, we're going to whisk these ingredients together. Okay, just whisk them up. Especially when you're using chemical leaveners like baking powder. All right, now we're going to let this go for a second. And now we're going to go to our second bowl, our wet ingredients. Very easy. 1 cup of that glorious whole milk ricotta. I have 2 whole eggs, 2 large eggs, and a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. Make sure it's pure vanilla extract. And you're just going to whisk this together. So you have a bowl of your dry, a bowl of your wet, and then you're going to combine them. So you really want to get these mixed up. The eggs are going to help puff those donuts up, and so is the baking powder. They're sort of going to work together. All right, so once we're done with that, we're going to get the wet into the dry. And I'm going to grab another spatula. I like a rubber spatula for this. And it's going to be a relatively thick dough, but there's no yeast. A lot of donuts have yeast in them, or you have to roll them out. These you don't have to roll out at all. This is sort of 2-bowl method, very, very easy. So just work with it. And you don't want to overmix because you don't want to develop gluten either in this beautiful little donut. And we're going to be frying these in a heavy saucepan, a good sized saucepan, not thin. Get a really high quality saucepan and fill it with about 1/4 of oil. I like canola oil, but you can use any oil that you want, but it must have a high smoke point. That means it's not going to ignite and it's not going to burn if it goes higher. And it should be heated to about 375. All right, so this is it. There's no resting. There's nothing to do except form these beautiful zeppeli. So I'll meet you back at my fryer station. Okay, so we're ready to fry our zeppeli. I'm very excited, but this is a very cautious section of our making of this because it can be a little scary. So some people are not used to deep fat frying. You don't need a deep fat fryer. As you can see, I have a really heavy pot, and it's a good sized pot. I filled it about 1 quart of oil. I use canola oil, use anything with a high smoke point. I put my thermometer in there. It has to be a thermometer that goes up to 375 degrees. Usually a candy thermometer will do that. And we're just about there. I am staying away from the oil to make sure that I don't burn myself and nothing spatters. You do not want to have any water nearby. Trust me on this. So I have a tiny little, about a teaspoon in volume, or 5 milliliters of a tiny little ice cream scoop. And I'm going to dip it in the oil just to get it lubricated so it'll release my little zeppeli. I'm going to come over to my dough. I'm going to get about 1 teaspoon. I'm going to release it into my fat, and I'm going to keep doing that. You'll hear a little bit of sizzle, and you can see it's sizzling around. I'm going to probably put maybe up to a dozen in here because they are very tiny. You don't want to crowd your pan. Okay, and you can hear the sizzle. If I stop talking, you'll hear the sizzle. And you want them to fry between 2 and 3 minutes till they get nice and golden brown. And you should have a draining station. So I have lots of paper towels on a plate, and that's where you're going to put them because you want that oil to drain off. And then we're going to roll them in cinnamon sugar. Yummy, yummy, yummy. If they don't all come out perfectly, that's fine. And they can make, you know, probably 2½ dozen. They can make probably a fewer if you make them a little bigger. The one thing I do want to do is I want to do a test. So we want to make sure that our zeppeli are actually cooked through. So I'm going to take, this is known as a spider, all right, sort of has webby little wires around it, and it will drain the oil right out. You can even use a slotted spoon. That's what I used to do before I had one of these. But these are very nice to have when you're frying. So you're just going to roll them around. You can see there are various colors of brown. And you want to make sure that you keep your hands and fingers away from here because it can get very hot. So after about 2 or 3 minutes, we're going to look at our darkest one, and we're going to cut it in half, and we're going to see if it's cooked through. If it's cooked through, then we're on the right track with timing. All right, so I did one over here, and that I did cut through, and that one was done. All right. So this little guy, see this little brown baby here, I'm going to put him and drain him a little bit while watching the others. And I could probably have put a few more in here. And with a knife, I'm going to come over and I'm just going to cut right through. And they should be a little crispy and soft inside. And you can see they're nice and cakey inside. That's done. That's gorgeous. Woo! Done, done, done. So these are just about there. So the real brown ones I'm going to take out. And we're still not done with them yet. So, but these are a lot of fun to make, and they don't take much time at all, and they make a fabulous dessert. So I'm going to do a few more. So while I continue with this zeppeli, get ready because in a little while I'm going to coat them in a beautiful cinnamon sugar mixture. Okay, our zeppeli are fried up, and now while they're hot, I'd like to dredge them in cinnamon sugar, right? So 1 cup of granulated sugar in a bowl with 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. Whisk that up. And then all you do is throw your zeppeli into the pool and coat them up really well, and they're ready to serve. These are best the same day, so I'm just going to put them in there and just sort of roll them around. Oh, it smells so good. You can smell the cinnamon sugar and the oil from the zeppeli, and they just look so good. I like to serve these with my salted caramel sauce. And that I'm going to be making into a future video, so you'll be able to see how to make that super easy sauce. Look how nice they look, all coated with cinnamon sugar. Again, it coats best when they're hot. But you don't want to burn yourself, so they've sort of sat for maybe a few seconds. So as you can see, our zeppeli are all fried off. They've all been dunked in our cinnamon sugar, as they should. And I've got a nice plate of them. So I like to plate them individually, put 3 or 4 on a plate, and here's, you can see they're sort of a pyramid shape. And I've drizzled some salted caramel sauce around there that I made in another video that you can watch. And they are light at the same time as they are rich. So the ricotta cheese makes them light and fluffy, as do the eggs. And it's a very simple batter to make, as you can see. You could just get donuts anytime you want and call them zeppeli. It makes them sound that much better. So for more videos and more recipes, please go to my website, gailsokol.com.